I know most people watching this are feeling stuck with their lives. You may have so many goals, dreams, ambitions, and you think SMMA will be a way out of the rat race. Every time you try, your outreach gets in the way. In today's video, I want to share 3 different outreach methods, which you've probably heard of. I'll list them up here. And I want to give you my past results, what I think about it, as well as tips to help improve. I value your time, so I'll keep this video on the shorter side. Yo, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna just watch halfway through, or even just skip around the timeline to see what I'm gonna talk about. And to prevent this, I'll be giving you guys free AI software, like a website that you guys could use. And all you gotta do is just watch this video fully and get to that point. Sorry for interrupting, and let's get back to the video. Anyways, let's start off with the first outreach method, which is cold emails. To be honest, cold emails are dead. I've booked meetings before using cold emails, but it took 200 emails to book one meeting. And that's just a meeting. There's no guarantee that I would have bagged the client. Sending this much emails is really hard if you don't have the time, but I have a fix for you. If you really want to grow by emailing, I suggest investing some money and buying a freelance team. And what I mean by this is to go onto a website like Upwork and hire people who are willing to cold email for you. I know this may frighten some beginners here, as you are not used to paying someone, let alone investing money into a company, but just know people who make a lot of money were first in debt to their company, which means that when they were first starting out, they invested a lot of their money into their company.
The options.
I started with $10,000.
Okay.
So I had, a little bit of savings and turned that into hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then put the money on a property in Idaho.
Another thing I would do is to learn the psychology of emails. Many people who have an email rarely check it. Also, don't forget, there's a lot of companies on the email market, which means on the average person's email list, there's over 100 promotions. So the human brain has naturally created a free ad blocker. This means that if in the first few words you sound like you're trying to sell someone something, the recipient will right away close out the email. This is why you have to have extensive knowledge on your niche, because then you can identify the pain points and desires of each client in that given industry. And because you are able to identify their pain points and desires, you can create a personalized first line that makes it sound as if you are for them and not yourself. Another thing I would take a look at is pattern breaks. If you can make your email look as if it has been written by a friend, probably more people will read it. You can do this by primarily using lowercase letters and double spacing each paragraph. There's also a website called copy.ai. Check out email templates and ask the AI to write you a cold email. Find that you shouldn't be straight up copying and pasting what it says, as it will lack the human touch. Basically, read what the AI developed as a learning tool and inspiration. And another quick tip I want to say is to never talk money on the email. And with this rigid transition, let's move on to the second method, which is social media DMing. Depending on how you approach this, social media DMing could be the best outreach method out there. I know this is a basic tip, but if you're struggling to find clients using social media, go onto the Instagram page, search up the hashtag that is related to your niche, and look at the posts under it. And a lot of beginners make this mistake. They end up creating a profile page for their agency. Don't get me wrong, this is a good idea to have just to put yourself out there, but I wouldn't suggest outreaching using that account. Instead, take some time to develop a personal brand. Get some followers, post some professional looking photos onto it, and then outreach using this account, because then your recipient will know who they are talking to. They're not going to be just talking to some empty corporation. One last thing I want to say, because I know many people that didn't know this before, but follow the accounts before you message them. If you don't do this, you're gonna end up being in their requested folder, which people automatically associate with spam, and you will have a negative introduction into your sales pitch. Now let's move on to my favorite method, cold calling. I spoke about cold calling in my last video, and check that out if you want more detail. But in short, cold calling has worked the best for me. At first, it is really difficult to put yourself out there. And I can understand if many of you freeze on the spot. But don't worry, this is just a phase and it will pass. If you treat it right, cold calling could give your company a professional feel. However, there are some barriers you have to first pass. First of all, you're calling someone out of the blue and trying to sell them your services, which means that if you want them to take you seriously, you have to first develop some sort of trust. Let me play a skit that I just made on the spot about how I would approach it. Hey, is this Bob from Made Up Company? This is he who is speaking. Hey, I'm Sandro from Recognize Digital. I understand that you're based in Random City. Yes we are. What do you want? To be honest, this is a cold call, so I do have a service I want to pitch to you. But before that, I want to comment on how great the weather is today. After you talk about some mutual ground, it doesn't have to be weather, because weather could come off kind of goofy. But after building a rapport, they'll be listening to your cold call with a different pair of ears. Keep in mind, the script was made in 5 minutes, so I hope with a little more time, you can make it sound more professional. Just create something that you personally wouldn't expect a cold caller to say. This way, you'll be able to stand out from all the copy and paste agencies. One tip that honestly helped me is that when I cold call, I walk around the room. This way that if I have any nerves, I could calm it down by just the movement of my body. And it will also help you think better on your feet. Anyways, that's all for today, and I hope that anyone who takes action after watching this video finds success. As always, stay safe and keep hustling.